So I'm going to show you like a real live deal that came to me yesterday, and I actually didn't underwrite it on purpose because I thought that we could just do it live. So I have not even looked at this. So this came to me yesterday, and I'm in Pace's studio, so I just texted it to him so he can look at it. So Gilbert, which is hot town here in Phoenix, if no one's here in Phoenix, Gilbert is back and just got renegotiated for $30,000 less. Off market, a beautiful 4-3, located here. Here's the address, 3-car garage, private pool, 2,600 square feet, built in 1996, whatever. So this is a lot of times how some deals get sent to me. I can go into like a whole thing about how to receive things like this, but I thought it would be a really good idea to look at this and decide if this is a deal or not, which I'm assuming it probably isn't, but I want to show you what using the sheet actually looks like. So I'm going to pull up our tax record. So here for our MLS, it's called Monsoon. So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm just going to share my Google Chrome. So less to see. Okay, perfect. So 768 West Douglas. And I'm just going to verify that what they sent me is correct, because when you end up kind of in these things, they're not realtors like us. And sometimes what's being marketed is not correct. So I'm just going to do just a quick double check. So it should be 2,600 square feet. It is built in 1996. It is, does have a pool, good stuff. So right off the bat, I'm looking here and it backs to a major road. And that's not the kiss of death for investors per se, but you're going to want to at least be aware of that, because whatever value we find, being on a major road, you can expect to take at least a $10,000 haircut. So even though a house that is the same exact house, if it's going to be even 3 houses away from the street, it's going to be worth $10,000 more just because it's not on the street. Being on the street is not fun. There is like a little bit of like, it looks like some grass and some trees and stuff, but still like you're going to hear road noise. So we all know how to comp, but what we're going to be comping for, and a lot of you already know this. So if you already know this and you're just like, I know what you're comping for is what you're trying to figure out an ARV, or an after repair value. So this is what your investor is going to create. So once the house is done, how much is this house going to be worth? And so you're going to want to find, hopefully, another remodeled, if not another fix and flip, because homeowner remodels aren't exactly the same as, you know, an investor who's coming in and the house is vacant and you're able to tear out stuff and really do it all at once. But something that's remodeled, hopefully another investor, and ideally I'd like to find a model match if possible. So in order for me to find that, I'm going to start and I'm going to search inside the neighborhood. I'm going to search in the subdivision. So the subdivision's called Silverhawk. So I'm going to start my search there and just look to see if I've got a comp there. So I'm going to just start there and I'm going to look. Market's changing so much. Sometimes if like the market's pretty stagnant, I'll go out 6 months, but just because the market is pretty crazy, I'm going to go out 3 months, which is what, you know, an appraiser would look at anyways. So there's 10 that have sold in that neighborhood in the last 6 months. And let me see if there's any 2616. So there's this one, 708 West Douglas. And that's it. So let's take a peek at this Douglas house and see if it's on the same street even. So, okay. It's empty, but it's not remodeled. It's got that ugly 10 by 10 tile that, oh gosh, I hate that stuff. It's got oak cabinets. It's got mismatched appliances. So this house, like nothing's been done to this house. So this isn't a good comp, but it is good to see what the house would sell for if you just, essentially what someone did in here is they just did paint and carpet. So maybe that is an exit strategy for an investor if the price is appropriate. So I was going to say, oh, this is a Venture REI property. They're great. I love those guys. But that's the other thing too, is you have to think of, and really quick, I'm just going to pause for just a second, just touch on this. When you think about home flipping, if you've never done it before, or you haven't been a part of it, you think of Chip and Joanna Gaines. You think of like these TV shows where people do these big, huge overhauls. And most of them have been what's called over improved. And it's done for TV. It's done to make like a big wow, a dramatic before and after. However, when you talk to some fix and flippers, you'll see that a lot of times you do not have to go that crazy. And in some cases, all you have to do is carpet and paint and you're fine. It just depends on the area. The area kind of dictates what, and the market, of course, what's acceptable. And so all the time, I think we touched a little bit on why realtors don't necessarily like investors or fix and flippers or wholesalers. And one of the reasons why is you will sometimes go and show a fix and flip to your retail buyer, to your buyer who's buying the home to live there. And you look around and you're like, wow, these baseboards are disgusting. And look at all these like areas where they need to do paint touch up. And I can't believe they left the countertops like that. There is a point of diminishing returns. So even if you go buy a brand new house, all of us have helped a new build person probably. When you go sell a new build to your client, they're still going through and doing blue tape items. Even a brand new house has problems. And so you can't think of a fix and flip where you're creating a house that has zero problems. You would be there all day long. It wouldn't be a business anymore because you cannot fix every single little thing in a house. You would just, you never exit. And so there is a point where home flippers do become intelligent enough to know, I'm going to do what I can to sell the house for as much money as possible, and that's it. So for instance, just a really quick little story, Pace and I, our first fix and flip, we were just like, oh my gosh, this is a dream. And we were, going on little date nights with our family to the flooring store and, going to Home Depot and just really enjoying ourselves. And like, we were just so excited. And we kept going to the house and we just go sit there. And sometimes we'd even get like fast food and just go sit in the kitchen while like after the work day, after the guys had left, and just look at it and go check in on the progress all the time. And we kept looking at it. We're like, oh my gosh, this house needs shutters. Oh my gosh, wouldn't this be just cute as a button if we did all brand new sod in the backyard? I bet this house is going to go to a family and they're going to have kids and it's going to be so cute. We just went on and on and on. And we just kept adding stuff to it and adding stuff to it. We even added really cute like drapery in the house and just we way over improved it because we got emotional about it because we were excited. It was our first one. And we ended up selling it to a big fund, Invitation Homes, who is backed by Blackstone, and they kept it and immediately turned it into a rental. And they didn't care that we had like a cute patio set with succulents. They didn't care that we had brand new sod. That sod was dead 2 months after the tenant moved in. None of that mattered. We didn't make a penny more. In fact, we probably lost money. And we walked out of that fix and flip and we made $13,000. That's still sometimes a win when you're talking about fix and flips because sometimes you lose money, but $13,000 for as much time and dreams and hopes and all this stuff that we thought was going to happen for this didn't happen. And so when you look at something like this, if anyone is in Phoenix and Dan Noma or Venture REI, they're like great, fantastic people. They're like, if you showed your buyer this, you might be like, wow, I can't believe you left that 90s brass chandelier in there. Wow, this is really crappy. I can't believe that they didn't, take the extra time. How lazy. And they're not lazy. They just understand that you don't have to go crazy. So this potentially could be an exit strategy for us. But let me look around in the neighborhood, even for stuff that isn't our model, and see what is selling in this neighborhood. What does this demographic of buyer who's considering this neighborhood, what are they okay with? So here we go. Old tile, a bluish gray color, old carpet, painted oak cabinets. There's nothing special about this one either. Okay, let's look at this house. Mismatched flooring. Yeah, I guess cute, but a third flooring, this gray tile is a third flooring. They've done some stuff, but again, there's nothing really too special about this. This one, again, wood plank tile, I don't want to make anybody bored here, but this is important for you to know when you're going to go sell your deal that you found to an investor as a deal. You need to know, like, you should be able to come to them and be like, I've looked in the neighborhood, what's selling? Like, you don't even have to switch out the flooring. Like, just clean it up, carpet paint, and you can get out of it. Look at this. Like, no one's done anything. Like, none of these kitchens, oh my gosh. Let's keep going up in price point and see if we can see anything. This is probably the nicest one and still 10, 15 years outdated. And again, I'm looking at this live with you guys. Same thing with this one. This one's like 8 years outdated. Okay, so you do not have to go crazy. So we should look and see what this house actually looks like, because we're not just talking about cosmetic decisions. We also need to know, are we going to have to do the roof? Is there leaks? Is there mold? Is like, what's going on? This one actually looks pretty clean. So this flooring, I don't love it. I'm sure none of us love this, but like, to be honest, if I'm going to pitch this to an investor, I would say keep the tile. Who cares? Okay, what the heck is going on here? I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So they replaced the door casing, and then they also, this looks disgusting, but I think this is them matching the texture, and they haven't painted it. But I don't know why this would have occurred, since it is a 2-story. This is obviously going into the garage. This isn't going to be something where you have like an exterior roof line. I wonder if like maybe like a bathroom upstairs or something flooded, and this is like a half done repair, because you don't just replace door casing for no reason. So this right here, I don't know if you guys can see my cursor, but it looks like they had like this looks like probably a new piece of drywall, to be honest, and this is where they taped it. And this is texture, but they didn't paint it, which is odd that someone wouldn't do that really quick before they finish. So that'd be interesting to know what that was. Again, not my style of tile, but like you really do not have to even switch that out. Look at the kitchen. The kitchen does have stainless steel appliances. It doesn't have, if that is oak cabinets, they've painted them, but I don't think it is. They have granite and they have a backsplash. Like old pool equipment, you probably got to consider, at least putting in, $1,000 into replacing a pool pump or something like that. And that's all we got. So there's some sort of unknown issue in the laundry room that we got to plan on, whatever that was. And maybe actually a lot of times people in Arizona, they keep their hot water heater on a little pedestal right outside of the garage door. So maybe the hot water heater went bad and damaged the wall. That could have been what happened. Worth an ask. But again, with these, you buy them as is, you buy them as is, where is, whatever. So they were trying to sell it for $649. It's now $619, and they're saying the ARV is $750. Again, wholesalers, their ARVs are always so incorrect, because we've got a house that's larger, has an extra bedroom, and this one sold for $730. Like, I don't really see where they got this ARV as $750, but let's go outside of the neighborhood and just look. But let's also be cognizant that this investor sold this house right down the street, just cleaned up, carpet paint for $615, and they're trying to sell it to us for $619, $990. So this is probably not a deal, but we're still going to run the numbers as if, we're looking at it potentially to be. So I'm going to head outside of the neighborhood real quick and see if I can find anything else. So appraisers obviously will go out like 2.5 miles. I try to stay as close as I can. So I'm just going to go out like a mile probably. And I don't want to cross, like ideally, I don't want to even cross any major streets, but I'm just going to see what's out there. I want single family detached. Oops. I want 2 levels because we've got a 2-story. And bedrooms, bathrooms, I think it was a 4-3, right? Yeah, 4-3. So I'm going to do, sometimes in Arizona, they say 3-bedroom plus a den. And technically it's like, you could add like a small little closet and call it a bedroom. So I'm going to do 3 bedrooms because sometimes there's 3 plus den. And then for bathrooms, I'm going to do 2.75, because if people are good agents, if you don't have a shower and a tub, it's technically a 3/4 bathroom at least here in Arizona. So I don't want to miss anybody who is technically a 3, just like us. And then I need to take off the subdivision aspect of that. And then I'll just see what we got. We got 3, so. Okay. So here was our little model match, and is a 3-car garage. These all actually look really similar, which is nice. Where did you go? I love when MLS messes up. I hope it didn't. Okay, cool. So we've got this one that's active for 600,000. Only has a 2-car garage though. Nothing, remodeled about this one at all. Let's see this one. See if this one's remodeled. Three-car garage, very similar to ours. Actually, this backsplash looks almost identical to what's already in our house. And a pool, 725. And then let's see this Scott house that closed for 650. Yeah, none of these are remodeled. So let me see if there's anything special about Scott or this Cambridge house that maybe made it. It's an 8,600 square foot lot. We are a 5,900 square foot lot, so it does have a bigger yard. Let's see. I could probably make this a comp. This one's actually harder to comp than I was hoping, but this is like a big difference. There's not really anything, in my opinion, that's too much more special about this one in comparison to this house, to be honest. But the price differential is $110,000, which is insane. So to be honest, what I would probably, and you guys can disagree with me in the comments, feel free to go ahead and put something there. I almost feel like a safe ARV, because again, you want to comp this safely. You don't want to tell your investor they can get 725. You want, if you're going to put a number out there like that, you need to be very confident and ideally have 3 solid closed comps. And this one's active for 725. It hasn't even sold. The best comp that I've seen is the Douglas house, but I could assume that we're going to get more because it's in better shape. We will eventually put ours in better shape. But to be honest, I wouldn't assume that they can do an ARV. I would say a safe one is 650, which is terrible. And I think everyone can tell this is already not a deal, but I want to do the sheet together for us to do so we you can see how it actually works and plays out. So we're gonna do 768 West Douglas. And the funny thing is too, like you can see how confident that wholesaler was. Like he was so confident. It's back, it's renegotiated, 30K off. Like, yeah, because you had it under contract for essentially retail. What you could sell on MLS, and then the seller would have had to pay commissions and closing costs and all of that stuff. But with wholesale, the buyer pays all of that. They're not paying any commission. So this is the hard part about dealing with deals like this, is you are not direct to seller. You're not direct to anybody. This has already been negotiated. Some sort of purchase contract with the seller is done before you've even been involved. And so if they're a crap negotiator, or if they just want to go sign contracts and get sellers under contract, they'll tell the seller that their house is worth more than it is, or give them more than they should. And in this case, 100% they did. So my estimated ARV, so when you're using the sheet, the only thing that you fill in is these green cells. So I'm going to estimate that my ARV is 650. And then I think I can turn this around in 3 months. And what does that mean? So that means from the time that this investor closes on the house, then they're going to go through construction, and then they're going to list on MLS with us. They're going to get an offer, and then they're going to go through that closing process with the new end buyer who's going to live there. I'm assuming this is going to take 3 months. And that's probably pretty accurate, because I think you could list something like this and sell it really fast. Gilbert is a hot market, and things don't sit. So the purchase price to us was $619,990. Eesh. $619,990. And again, we know this isn't a deal. So then we're going to want to do, we've got no reinstatement or anything like that. And then we've got closing costs. So when the investor goes to purchase the home, that's something that everyone forgets. You have to pay closing costs to buy the house first. So this investor is going to be looking at some closing costs. When they're buying a deal like this, they're often paying the seller's closing costs as well. So I'm overestimating, but I just want to make sure that I give them an okay scenario. And then if they make more money, then I've, really wowed them. I want to um, under promise and over deliver on a deal for them. So I've estimated 1%. For repairs, to be honest, I don't think that we actually need to do a lot. And I think, again, sound off in the comments if you think so. I think that if this got like a fresh coat of paint, maybe switching out some light fixtures, like I, any seller who has two weird ceiling fans in the same room, like I don't understand why, like that's obviously their little dining area. I don't think we need to take care of this, maybe do some new door hardware. Um, Again, the fans, those are cheap. You don't have to do something very expensive or really cool in a house like this. I think new hardware. I think you leave the kitchen essentially how it is. Expect a little bit of pool repairs and some yard stuff, but you really don't have to do too much. In order for us, though, to feel like we deserve more money than the Douglas house, though, so we already have stainless steel appliances. We have a backsplash. We have better cabinets, in my opinion. We have more attractive tile, even though ours is still old and ugly. We might have to do something to add like a little bit of like pizzazz to ours. So maybe we do some can lights. Maybe we switch out some cabinet hardware. Maybe instead of $69 fans, we do $120 fans. But again, these are going to be minimal difference to make it a little bit better. So we deserve more than $615,000. But again, minimal. So let's assume that this is worst case scenario. We're probably going to spend closer to 15, but I'm just going to estimate 20 in case there's some crazy pool repairs, in case there actually is a roof leak, or some mold issues in that laundry room, or we end up with something weird, because you never know. Always overestimate. And then monthly maintenance. So this isn't an HOA, so I can, if you want to check, and just double check, but this isn't an HOA, which means that someone is going to be looking at the yard. You can't let the yard go nuts, so we're going to have to pay to have someone go over and clean it up, once a month. So let's just assume we're going to spend $50 on the front yard, making sure that we don't have weeds and we're not getting HOA violations. And then here is a really important thing, which I'll talk about after this, which I talked about last time, but it's very important to know your investor's buy box. But for this investor, we're going to assume that he's going to borrow 100% of the value of the purchase price, and that he's going to get 8.5% hard money with 1 point for loan origination. And this is an actual investor of mine, and this is the terms that he uses. Now we're going to want property taxes. So we're going to go, and of course I closed that like a silly goose. Sorry, everybody. Oh, no, I didn't. I put it over here. Okay, let's see. So this actually has property taxes. For last year was $2,300. That's so weird. So I'm going to put $2,300 in here, and it's automatically going to spit out 3 months worth of that. Homeowners insurance is probably going to be closer to $130 a month for that. And then utilities, it is summer here in Arizona. It's hot as heck. We don't want our guys in there working in a 140-degree house, because houses get hotter than it even is outside. So we're going to have a pretty decent amount of utilities here monthly. Plus it's a 2-story. So I'm going to assume that we're probably going to spend $300. And if you know your guys, they're going to crank it down, and they're probably going to forget to put it back at 80 before they leave the house. So just over assume for utilities for this. Then once you go to sell it, you're going to pay, $100 for photos, closing costs, concessions. Let's assume that you're going to pay 1%. We're probably not going to pay the buyer any concessions or anything like that, but you're going to have to pay title fees, and you're going to have some inspection repairs. We're not in the market really to offer any credit from the seller to the buyer. Sales commission for the listing agent, let's just assume you do it for a discounted percent, and you're going to do it for 2.5%. And you're going to offer 2.5% to the buyer's side. So all in, you're going to be $707,000. And so you would actually lose $57,000 if you did this deal. Now let's just for play devil's advocate and say that this wholesaler was accurate with his ARV. Let's just say that you could sell this for 750,000, which I think that we can all agree that you can't. If you were going to sell it for $750,000, you're going to have to spend way more than $20,000. You're probably going to have to spend, redo the flooring, probably redo that stair rail. You're going to have to do new countertops, new backsplash, probably all new appliances. You're going to have to put some cute little flowery plants in the front and backyard, maybe do some turf in the backyard. You're going to have to redo the showers. Like we're going to spend some money here. So let's probably going to end up spending more than this, but let's just devil's advocate. Even if we could get the ARV that he said we could, we would have to spend more money. You probably plan on spending $60,000. That's conservative. We'd be spending way more than that. We would still lose $5,000. So that's the other question that you need to ask. And I'm going to touch on buy box really quick for everybody. But this is a really good reason why you need to know your investor's buy box. Every investor has a certain amount that they would like to make. And most people can assume that you want to make at least a 10% return on your initial investment. So that would be the purchase price right here, this $620,000. So bare minimum, you can expect your investor to assume that they want to make, $62,000 return for their time to tie up that capital, to spend, to even look at it. It's not worth somebody to maybe make money. They have to be pretty confident, and they want to feel confident that they can make, about a 10% return. Does that happen all the time? No. But the reason why you need to know all this is because you need to be able to look at this and fill this out appropriately. So what is a buy box? So a buy box is when you're meeting investors and you're talking to them, a buy box is what does your first things first, you have to know what type of property are they looking for. So you can sometimes I meet investors where they're like, oh, I'll do anything. If it's a deal and I'm going to make money, I'll take it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I just roll my eyes. Cause like, where even to begin? And if they actually were an investor, they would say, you know what, I'm like pretty into multifamily right now. If you get any multifamily deals, I'd be interested. I ideally 10 doors and over. Like they actually know what they're talking about because they're actively looking for that. So you're going to want to know, what kind of property are you looking for? Are you looking for single family homes? Are you looking for, some investors like do great on manufactured homes. That's so crazy. Like no one looks at a gross, ugly manufactured home and thinks that's a slam dunk. But some people, like I've met investors that specialize in that. It's strange. Some people want land. Some people, are like, wow, I just kill it on like the outskirts of town, whatever market you're in, because I don't have a lot of competition. So I'm just like hitting these like home run slam dunks all the time. So like anything around here, like people will be able to tell you what they want if they're a real investor. The second thing you need to know is their exit strategy. So are they looking for, are they looking for fix and flips? Not everyone's a fix and flipper. Are they looking for a rental property? And if so, are they looking for a short-term rental like an Airbnb or a VRBO? Or are they looking for something to put in like a year lease plus type of tenant? Because all of those are underwritten differently. So you'll ask them, what kind of investment are you looking for? Okay, perfect. In this case, with a fix and flipper, you'd want to know what market are they buying in, because you might meet somebody in your state who is actually fix and flipping virtually in a different state because they like really get a kick out of Denver, Colorado or something. I don't know. Like there's people do weird stuff all the time. Like we have to kind of take off these. One of the biggest sales things is like, don't spend money with your own wallet. The same thing goes for investors. Like people do crazy stuff and make crazy money doing stuff that like you might not have ever even thought of, And so you have to kind of take that off and just like, you need to know what market they're in, what type of property they're buying. Okay, great. Now you know that, and you know what they're planning to do with it. then you're going to want to know, this is so weird and you're going to feel so uncomfortable asking them this, but you're going to want to know how they're buying it. Because if they're paying cash, there are some random people out there who do pay cash for things. Then they are actually they have more access, like there's more meat on the bones for them because they're not paying holding costs. If you look at this property that we just talked about right here, this holding cost right here, that's $24,000 just to hold it for 3 months. That's like, if someone's paying cash, like that $24,000 then instead gets added to the profit rather than something that they're going to have to pay to hold the property. So sometimes you run into people who are playing with like their 401k. If you have somebody who's getting a loan, which a lot of investors you will are going to be getting loans, and a lot of them are going to be getting hard money, then you need to know, okay, when you get hard money, will they loan you 70% of the value of it? And are they doing the value of it currently? Or are they doing the value of it when it, once it's fixed up? Is it 80%? Is it 100%? Do they also loan you your rental costs? There are some people who even borrow their rental costs. So you're going to want to know that, because you're going to want to know what they're paying, because you need to be able to underwrite it appropriately for their business and how they do business. Then you're going to need to know what's their rate that they're getting money for. And so like in this case, this investor has done it for so long that they found a hard money lender that will do it for 100% of value, 8.5%. That's cool. Not everybody has that. A lot of people, their hard money lender will at least make them put 20% down. So you're going to want to know that, so then you can underwrite it appropriately. So buy box is huge. And then there's other little intricacies here too. Like I work for some investors that they don't want to buy anything over $500,000 acquisition cost. And you can think, why? Like they're losing out on so many deals. Like they'd lose out on this because it's, $100,000 more than what their minimum is. But they've done it for so long that they've decided that these higher priced fix and flips, that it not only takes longer, because they're bigger and you have to do nicer finishes, but they also they attract a different type of buyer who's more picky. And so they take longer to sell. And then also once they are selling, then they get like a picky inspection report. And so they've just decided under $500,000 is my playground. And I'm going to play with all of those deals because I know I can get in and out, churn and burn through them. I might get a one-off buyer or buyer's agent who really is just, writing me hard on that inspection report and inspection repair requests. But for the most part, it's usually easy. And I don't have to spend too much money of my own on construction costs for my rental costs, because I don't have to do, beautiful European reclaimed oak flooring. I can just go to my discount floor store and pick up whatever's under $2.50 a square foot. And so like you want to know what price that they're comfortable in buying. And then there's other little things that they might, throw in here and there, like some people don't want to pull permits. Some people don't want to remove walls. Some people, don't want stuff in an HOA. And those are all valid things for them to tell you. And if they are actively investing, they will know those things. And then so they'll tell you, if you're like, I'm going to go find you a deal, I just need to know what you're looking for, and you're getting this conversation going, they will come out and be like, I want anything in these cities or these markets or these counties, and I want to be up to this point. And if you ask them, okay, well, how do you fund these? Oh, easy. I actually have a great hard money lender. He gives me 100% financing at 8.5%. Perfect. Now you got all the info that you need to now go find them a deal.